up, everybody? Welcome to T8 Outdoors podcast, and we're super stoked to have Bryce on the other line with Wyoming Disabled Hunters. Would you consider yourself a foundation, or how do you work?
We are a 501(c)(3),
Okay,
so I don't know. I'm not sure what a foundation technically really is, but
right.
yeah, but
Yeah.
we're a
So
501(c)(3).
cool. Yeah. So we got Bryce on the other line, and the Wyoming Disabled Hunters. Their application period is open right now for to get you guys out in the woods out in Wyoming. Like there's some things that you need to have, and I'll let Bryce touch up on those. But they have a great success rate of getting people with disabilities out in nature, and you guys know that's why this podcast exists. So Bryce, if you could just introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are and how Wyoming Disabled Hunters came to be.
Okay, so I'm actually the vice president of the organization. I've been with them since the beginning in 2008, and then we actually had our first hunt in 2009. It was just a couple deer hunts, and then Um, I think next we added a couple elk hunts, sorry, and then finally antelope hunts, and then we've just kind of added more and more hunts for those species over the years. So now we're doing total of 20 hunts between elk, deer, and antelope.
Wow, you guys are blowing up. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people with disabilities out there who need to break out of the barrier because everyone because when you get disabled or you're born disabled or you I'm speaking from myself. Like I was traveling the world snowboarding before I got hurt, and then once I got hurt, it was a very dark period. You shell up. You don't want to talk to nobody. Rather sleep than you would wake up in the daytime. It's just depression, anger, anxiety, all that. But I try to tell people like the impact of getting outdoors and hunting's great. Yeah, like we all want to get an animal, like whether it be if you're aiming for something on the wall or food in the freezer, like everyone wants to do that. But I I'm about 13 to 14 years into my I don't know, hunting career, whatever you want, a hunting lifestyle. Um, and I enjoy the journey now more than I do I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you get an animal, you'll tell memories of all these animals. Like, oh yeah, it's gonna stick with you. But it's that journey of getting out into the woods. Like I don't know. I'll speak for myself if I'm going to Wyoming. You go drive to the airport, deal with the airport. That's a whole thing. Then you get out to Wyoming, you get your rental car, and you drive out, meet up, and like you meet up, you stay wherever you stay, you sleep, you wake up in the mornings, everyone's excited, rustling, deer camp, all that. And then you go out into the woods, and then it's either, like you're driving around hunting from a vehicle or you're sitting in a blind, and it's just the peace and just being able to get your mind focused on something other than yourself is super liberating. And that's what I fell in love with the outdoors. So yeah, yeah. I don't know. I go off on rants and stuff like that. But so can you let us? So your application period is open right now on WyomingDisabledHunters.org. You guys click on that link, and then you can find the application process. There's a button right there. This is application, and then you can go from there. But what's the overall process? If you don't mind running us through that real quick.
Sure. So before they can click on and actually fill out our application, they have to have the disabled hunter permit because it'd be one of those required fields that, it won't let you submit the application without your disabled hunter permit number and even an image of the permit itself. So they have to have that permit in hand before they do our application. And that requires getting a doctor to sign off that you qualify under this particular um what's the word? uh, that you qualify under a particular
Club.
what's that?
Club.
Yeah, a particular type
Sect.
of disability, I guess, is
Yeah,
what I'm
sect of
saying there.
society. I
Yeah.
get you. Yeah.
So then once you have that, and then there's also a season extension permit, which if you qualify, it's a different um
Process.
different process, different itinerary, different qualifications for that permit. But if you qualify for both, you need to have both before you um, fill out our online application. But then once you do have both of those, you can go ahead and fill out our online application and send it off. Our deadline is the 25th of this month at I believe 5 o'clock Mountain Time. So kind of getting down to the nitty gritty here, especially since those those permits need to be done by snail mail. You have to snail mail your application, your permit application to Game and Fish and Wyoming, and they'll snail mail your permits back to you. I've heard of some need to do it quick, and they've even like paid for expedited shipping there, and then paid for expedited shipping back. You know, if you're really desperate to get it done. So,
Yeah, so I'm forgive me, my internet kind of sucks, but you were glitching out there a little bit. So you have to go through the Wyoming state fishing game and you have to get your license to hunt from a vehicle, and then you have to get a season extension license as well. And you can fill out both of those information at one time, and they'll, like you said, they'll snail mail it. But Wyoming, the state of Wyoming's pretty good. When I did it, I got all my stuff back within ten days to 2 weeks. You know, it took 4 or 5 days to get out there. They cranked it out. It seemed like within the hour, and then mailed it right back. I was pretty mind boggled about how fast that came about because I was trying to do it last year when I first found you guys, and I ended up botching the sequence, but that was my own fault. But yeah, it's very easy to do. And then there's one thing on on the permit here. I'm just trying to pull up the permit here so I actually know what I'm talking about. Um, there's one part of the application where it has your license. Okay, right here. Your if you qualify for the disabled hunter license, it automatically gives you the shoot from a vehicle license too, correct?
yep, that's a new thing they just did a couple years ago. So if you if you get the disabled hunter permit, you automatically get shoot from a vehicle.
Yeah, like when I was trying to put it together, that's something that kind of messed me up, and I had to call Fish and Game, and then like, oh, don't worry, it's on the same license, all that. So yeah, you get that, and then the season extension license is completely different. But so let's say we get all that figured out, and then you fill out the application. What's the process behind it once you guys get once that deadline ends and you're able to get all the check out all those applications? Like how does the process go into choosing who gets to hunt, who doesn't?
Well, we just recently started a kind of a scoring system to kind of figure out. So then we want to try and take the most deserving applicants we can find, you know,
Right.
and the ones that are least likely to be able to hunt on their own and kind of need us the most is what I'm trying to say. We try to figure out who those guys are and you know choose 20 of those guys as best we can. And then once we get that figured out, we'll start reaching out and either calling or emailing the lucky winners and kind of figure out their permit or their licenses after that. So.
That's so cool. What is the most extreme disability you guys have been able to take out? Like who was like the worst off and what was their class of disability?
Mm, that's kind of a tough one. We've had quite a wide range of applicants, hunters so far this year. I mean, over the years. Um, we've had some blind guys, which that presents some new challenges for us, and we've got some real great equipment for that. Of course, we've had a couple quadriplegics that can, um, you know, can't move much more than their head, and we have
Right.
plenty of equipment to help make that happen. So
Yeah, yeah. So do you guys have the sip and puff trigger
we
system?
do. We've got a couple of those, and couple bite triggers, and a couple just regular rests for, like a para that just needs a little more support with his gun. So
Right.
we've got,
The you guys heard that from the horse's mouth. There's no reason for you not to get out and put this application in. They have
absolutely.
no matter how like if you have to have a sip and puff because your trigger finger doesn't work as well, they have you covered. And you also said you've had blind hunters coming out there too. I've seen some pretty rad technology when it comes to visibly impaired hunting. Can you just like touch on what kind of equipment that is? Because it always just mind blows me. It's super cool.
Yeah. So, getting back to your point, there's no such thing as too disabled to go hunt with us. If somebody applies and shows up, we'll make it happen one way or another. We'll find a way.
Right.
So, but getting to the back to your question about the blind hunters, we have a device that kind of clips onto the back of their scope, and then just kind of that'll take the sight picture, and then put it up to a little TV screen, just a tiny like 4-inch TV screen type deal mounted on the top of their scope.
Mm-hmm.
So then our volunteer will sit behind the blind hunter and tell him, okay, go up, go left, go right, okay, shoot. But then the blind guy gets to physically do the whole operation. He just
Right.
needs somebody needs our gizmo and one of our volunteers to tell him how,
Right.
basically.
A little extra helping hand. That's so cool because then they're able to feel that recoil of the rifle, get that whole experience, smell the gunpowder in the air. That,
Yeah.
that's super cool. I saw online this one blind hunting contraption. It was like you said, it was a little computer mounted to the scope, and the scope would there'd be a very minimal beep, and when they moved, it would the computer on top of the scope would sense it would pick out the animal, like automatically focus on the animal. And when you move the scope around, it beeps and it beeps faster once you get on that deer. So beep, 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 beep. And then when the beeping is like super repetitive, that's when you know you're on the critter right there, and they're able to harvest an animal that way. So that was super cool.
That is pretty cool. So, you know how they know when they're, you know, on the vitals and all that?
See, I didn't I wasn't able to check that. It was one of those videos you look at real quick. You're like, oh, that's pretty cool, and then you kind of move on. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it's got like a cert like a another type of beep. But yeah, I would think it's like you don't want to be shooting the back hip or the
Yeah.
guts and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
um, but anyway, I don't know like the ins and outs of that thing, but it's pretty cool. So where there's a will, there's a way, and
Absolutely.
there's no disability too extreme. You guys heard that. So Wyoming disabled hunters, you got to get all your paperwork, get that stuff in, get it right now because that application deadline is coming up in 2 weeks, right? 25th.
Uh, yeah, a little over 2 weeks. So 17 days to be exact.
Cool. So I usually only post these podcasts on Monday, but I'm gonna go ahead and post it today. Um, get that out there just so more people can, get the word, obviously get the word out and get in time for that application period. But if not, you know, you're able to slow walk it and get all the paperwork and stuff for next year's application period. So when we get out there, how so let's say we have a disabled quadriplegic, paraplegic, and they get to the airport. How does the process work from once they land?
Okay. So we'll take our deer hunt for an example. That was our first hunt that we started with as an organization. So we'll have one of our volunteers come and pick you up in our van. We've got a one of those big old Mercedes vans with the wheelchair tie downs and the whole bit and the wheelchair lift. And so if need be, we can certainly pick you up at the airport. You and your companion, your
Caretaker,
self,
guide, family,
your aid,
friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
self-help aid or whatever you want to call them.
All right.
And then what we do is we rent out this big old, now they call it a verbo, just a big old house that everybody stays at together, and we cook all of our meals there, and it's great camaraderie to everybody stay up and visit and all that at night, and it's pretty great that way. And then we have other local volunteers that are more of a hunters that that'll take you out and depending on the situation, we might run around in a pickup truck or we might put you in a ground blind and get it done that way.
So it's like so yeah, the options are ground blind, hunting from a vehicle. What is are you hunting on straight public land or is this private land that people have opened up to your organization?
This is all on private land that's been opened up to, in some cases, exclusively to us, and we hunt the same places year after year, so we have a good rapport with the landowners and everybody's familiar with the land and all that, so it works really well that way.
That's really cool. Yeah. Like I say this on every podcast, but the one I had last night, me and my buddy Dre were talking about just the family and the camaraderie of the outdoors community. Like it's like right there's the rifle side and the archery side. We focused more on the archery side just because of our subject matter on the topic last night, but it's the overall outdoors family and everybody coming together and were willing to sacrifice their time and whatever resource they could possibly, you know, put into the bucket, put their name in the hat, as I just could say. But like, so you guys heard that you're hunting private land, good. There's great rapport with the landowners, and you're either in a blind or you're in a car, and you're going around and you're just looking for game. So on the application, it asks the three animals you would like to choose. Obviously, there's cow elk, there's bucks and antelope bucks, right?
Yeah, and we have couple opportunities for bull elk too, but mostly
Okay,
cows. Yeah.
cool. So on there. It has the option in the application of like, what would you like to hunt more, and it lists elk, antelope, deer. How do you choose who gets to hunt what?
So I don't have a whole lot of direct knowledge of that, but I'm obviously elk is going to be our most popular.
All right,
That's the one that everybody wants to hunt the most. So I'm sure the applicant that scores the highest, the applicants that score the highest get the elk hunts, and
right.
then the deer, and then the antelope, and then when it comes to antelope, actually, we hunt those early. So then, um, in order in order to even be considered for the antelope hunt, they have to have the season extension permit. So
Got
something to
it.
think about there.
Personally, for me, I think antelope meat is the best meat in the lower 48.
Really?
I would rather have antelope than I would elk. Don't get me wrong, elk tenderloins. Oh my gosh, I'm a heart guy. I love hearts too. Elk heart, delicious. But there was just I've been able to harvest two different pronghorn in my career with my life with with an archery setup. It just sat on water in 100-degree weather in a blind. They had a drink to come in. This guy right here was one of them.
Okay, nice.
Um, but yeah. So you've mentioned there's a point system on the application. How do you guys like? What's the overall point process? How does that work?
Oh, it's based on how many other hunts they've done and whether they've hunted with us and their severity of their disability and um, their something about age too. Um, so you kind of take all those things into consideration.
Right. That makes sense. You don't, someone who's had like a lucrative hunting lifestyle would probably be farther down the list than someone who's never hunted before, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Basically, yeah, that's how it goes right on. And it on here, I'm just going through the application right here. I got it in front of me. It says there's a question. Are you requesting financial aid assistance? How does that part work?
Okay. Yeah, so we want to make sure that the cost of traveling out here is not a barrier, not going to prevent somebody that's drawn. We want to make sure they can definitely get out here. So, if you feel like you wouldn't be able to afford the trip, then you put it in that application, and then we'll either buy your plane ticket out here or reimburse you mileage and food if you end up driving. So,
Wow. You guys, there's no excuse. I'm really
yeah.
I'm really close to the microphone because I want to push this point through. There's no excuse to not file this application with Wyoming Disabled Hunters. If you're having a hard time in life financially, they can help you out. If you're wanting to get on that animal because you never had the opportunity, that's what they're here for. They want to just grow the love of the outdoors that we've come to love and just make it blossom and prosper. I love it. This is such a rad organization. And so how does how does being someone who served a veteran who requires veteran status or who applied for veteran status, how does that part work? Because I see there's several questions here on, you know, are you a service member, VA disability rating, discharge date, all that stuff. How does that work?
So there's a couple considerations for veterans. So actually, if the applicant's either a veteran with, I believe, 50% VA rating, VA disability rating, or they're confined to a wheelchair, then that person can get a donated license, which, you know, saves them the stress of wondering if they're going to actually draw the tag after they've been drawn or after they've been selected by us. So that's why we ask about veteran status.
Got it. So at what time of the year do these hunts usually go down? Because pronghorn do pronghorns don't shed their horns, do they?
So they shed that black outer casing.
Yeah, I know it's like a sheath that comes off the skull.
Yeah, but the actual horn inside that they don't shed that part, just that black outer part is how they
Okay,
shed.
that's interesting. Yeah, because when I was Euro mounting mine and I put it in the boiling water, the black horns came off and I was like, "Oh no, like did I just break this thing?" Like, and then you see underneath on the pronghorn's head there's probably like a 3 inch bone nub, maybe bigger. And that black horn, that black sheath just grows right up out of it, right up over it.
Yep.
Amazing animals. They fascinate me when I was out hunting my pronghorn and I shot a big buck. He's a shoulder mounted in my living room. But when these things when this guy come walking in, it was a bluebird sky day, not a cloud in the sky, and the sun shining on that pronghorn. It was the most beautiful animal I have ever seen in the wild. Like the sun was just glistening off his fur, and they have that unique white, throat patch, chest patch deal that goes on, and then it's just how big bucks do what they do, and incredibly pretty animal. How are you guys mostly hunting those out of cars, or do you pop anything over water? What I'm getting at is like, what type of the season are you hunting each animal?
Okay, so the antelope will be hunting September 15th through the 17th. So kind of not real hot weather at that point. So then we're mostly just driving around in trucks, and this is all a rifle hunt. So just kind of drive around in trucks until you find one you like and drive around,
Right.
maneuver in closer and take the shot.
Get that optic on there. I love it. And then that way too, it's probably not too cold that time of the year. Uh-oh, did I lose you? I hate my
Sorry,
internet. I hate my
you cut out
internet.
a little bit there.
Yeah. So at that time of the year, it's not very cold, right? For the pronghorn.
It's pretty mild weather at that point, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty nice and warm that time of
So
year.
being up though there in Wyoming, you never know. Being that high in the
Yeah.
lower
Our
48, you never know.
yeah, our deer hunt in early November, that can get cold for sure. Cold and
Yeah.
snow and windy and the whole bit.
But that all adds to the adventure. Like I've learned that like throughout my hunting life that I mean it's not, don't get me wrong, it's super nice to have like just bluebird skies, like light breeze and where you're comfortable, but if you want like a serious rad adventure memory, I've come to love those days of just frigid temperatures, wind, snow, just miserable. And you're just sitting, especially if you're in a blind, you're just sitting in that blind, trying to stay warm. And it's just horrible outside. And those memories stick with you more than the simplistic, easy days, where you're just rolling around and everything tends to go your way.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might just be me, but I love miserable weather, hunting miserable weather. What about the elk? So you say you have a couple tags possibly of bull elk. Do you hunt the bulls and the cows at separate times of the year?
Mostly. So with our the bull elk hunt would be kind of late September, and then the cows would be kind of sprinkled all through October, November, just kind of one or two at a time for those.
Got it. Yeah, that's do you have any unique stories you'd be able to share with us that could get someone pretty excited for this or 'cause
Mm,
I'm looking on the Instagram and there's some serious critters put down on the ground and everyone's just smiling ear to ear. So I'm sure you have something on the docket.
yeah, yeah, we've had some great success over the years and taken some couple of really nice bulls, nice 6 point bulls, and um, uh, it's always a great time. Sometimes you'll see a grizzly bear or two, and it just kind of adds to the adventure.
I would love to see a grizzly bear, man. Those things are seeing a grizzly bear just make you pucker.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. But if you guys have a chance, check out their Instagram. It's Wyoming Disabled Hunters, and they have a link on the their Instagram page that goes directly to the website, and you can see photos of some of these, very large cow elk, very large. Thing that's a giant pronghorn. So there's pronghorn, antelope, and speed goat. It's all the same thing, guys. But those things have some serious wheels on them, man. We're at a full sprint, it's amazing. When we were out in eastern Colorado hunting antelope, we were driving and we were just to see how fast they go. We're driving in the car on a dirt road and there was a herd running right next to us, and I think we clocked them at like 55 miles an hour or something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. You think humans, what's the fastest human out there could run, I don't know what, 18 miles an hour, maybe 20.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Must
I don't
be.
know. That's not my realm. I'm in a wheelchair. I could roll pretty damn fast. I'll tell you that. So you gotta watch out. But these animals are extremely impressive when they're at a full sprint. It's just beautiful. And like I said, these antelope are gorgeous animals. Their fur is just, yeah, beautiful. I look at the one I have shoulder mounted all the time, and when I have friends and family or just strangers come over and they open up my living room, because I live in Huntington Beach, California. I'm about a quarter mile from the ocean. There's not a
Nice.
lot of hunters out here. I know probably three, but I'm sure there's a lot more. But it's just not something you would come across out here. And people come in my living room. They're like, "Whoa, it's like Bass Pro Shop in here." And I ask everyone, I'm like, "Oh, what's your favorite animal that's up on my wall?" And every single person says that antelope, just how pretty it is. And they're like, "Oh, I feel like when I look at that thing, I feel like I'm in Africa." I'm like, "Yeah, it looks like it doesn't belong in North America, but they are a lot of pronghorn in the middle of the United States. I've seen herds of 30, 40. I just seen tons of them, man. You could just driving around, especially eastern Colorado. Um, when you get south of I-70, just look south and you'll see a pronghorn. They're always out there. How's the population up by you guys? Is it pretty thriving or
It's doing pretty good. It's kind of tough to draw a tag around here, but I think they're coming back pretty good. We'll just put it that way.
yeah, do you guys have to deal with like winter kill off and stuff like that? Like
A little bit. We're way up in the northwest corner, and surprisingly the winters aren't super harsh like they are in like southern Wyoming. So,
by the mountain ranges and stuff like
yep.
that. Yeah, I got you. Um, yeah, and you have some pretty impressive mule deer on here too.
Yep.
It's a
We've
big.
had some real nice bucks taken.
Oh, that's a beautiful giant 2 point, just huge animals. And then what's this one right here? Oh, beautiful. What was that? 4x3? Brent? Brent from Wisconsin. Congratulations. Uh,
Oh yeah. I remember him. Yeah, that was a real nice buck you got.
yeah, and those are hunting from the car.
That one was from a ground blind.
Nice. And what are you hunting over when you're hunting out of the ground blind? Is it like a food plot or water or
Usually just out in a agricultural field and no real bait set out for them, but
right?
just the farmers know their land and know the deer and like they know that deer come across here most every day, so put a blind over by the tree and you can at least see one. So
Right, right. That's awesome. Has anybody been able to harvest an animal with archery equipment yet, or is it mostly rifle?
yeah, we've had decent success with archery. In fact, that's how it started was with it used to be archery only for the deer. Um and then we're starting to come back to that a little bit. But yeah, we've had pretty good success with archery.
I love it. I'm a big archer. I shoot competitive archery and just it's just the thing about archery is you have to be up close and personal with your animal.
Yep.
You can see their eyes. You know, you can like I'll speak about my pronghorn that I was able to harvest. I was able to see his eyes, see the color pattern on his fur. You know, you see his chest moving up and down with every breath. You see just you're it's a personal relationship before you pull that trigger. As to a rifle, you know, you could be hundreds of yards away, and it's just different. I'm not bashing rifle hunting. I kill most of my animals rifle, and I'm a not ashamed at all. But it's just yeah, if the opportunity's there, getting that bow out is preferable for me, just for adventure and stuff like that. And I love archery. Beautiful game. What's up, Bryce? Let's ask you how's your hunting going? Have you harvested anything this season, or what's going on with you, bud?
So I went out hunting for elk and deer with my dad. Um he's my go-to hunting buddy. And see, we spent like 6 days out for elk, and I never even saw one. And we had cow tags, and Dad saw a couple bulls, and so that was
Yeah, that's
kind
how
of
it
a
works.
bummer. But yeah, it was great time with Dad and beautiful country, so not nothing to complain about there. And then we did get my deer, so nice white-tailed doe, so tasty.
Count
I
it,
think that's
man.
the best meat on the planet, is
Uh, uh,
white-tailed doe.
Whitetail doe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just got back from Texas and was able to harvest several. And yeah, because with those bucks and the older the buck, the more breeding cycles it's been through. And when these deer get in these breeding cycles, their body gets flooded with testosterone, and that taints the meat ever so slightly. Um, there's definitely a difference between a deer pre-breeding and after breeding, and then a deer like right in the breeding cycle. Just the taste of the meat is what from my experience. But yeah, whitetail does are delicious, and you know the smaller ones are even better, just because they haven't gone through all those breeding cycles. Because if even the females, you know, when they go into heat, they get their body and meat gets flooded with different hormones and toxins from the brain and stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna disagree with you there, bud. Antelope meat all day long. I love it. I'm a massive fan of it. Don't get me wrong, I love elk too. Those elk tenderloins and elk heart are just amazing. But I'm looking at your photos here, and you have I'm looking at a photo of a gentleman named Joe, and you guys are out in Cody, Wyoming. Is that where you guys hunt?
Yep.
Yeah, and he's in his electric wheelchair, and he's got his hands on a pretty solid buck, man. 4x4, super heavy, lots of mass. I love it, man. I just love looking at photos.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. What whose idea was it to start Wyoming Disabled Outdoorsmen or Disabled Hunters?
So that would be our founder, Merlin Ballinger. Um, Little backstory there. There was a point, couple, there was a point in like, there was a point in my life where I was only working part-time. So he called me up one day and he's like, "Hey, I've heard of this organization over in Gillette, Wyoming, which is about, call it 3 hours east of us, that does a archery antelope hunt, and you want to go check them out with me?" Like, yeah, sure, why not? So then we go down there and help out with their hunt for a couple of days, and it was good times. And that's where I started getting the archery bug myself. And um, on the way back, he's like, I bet we could pull off something like that around Cody with deer, on all those ranches up the North Fork and South Fork. I didn't really know much about what goes on up North Fork and South Fork and what the ranches were and all that. So I just kind of, yeah, nod and grin. Sure, sure, Merlin. Sounds like a good idea. I didn't think much of it anymore. And about a couple months later, he's calling me up and he's got three or four other people and he's ready to start forming a board and getting this thing off the ground. Like, okay, here we go. So,
We're in the door. No turning back now.
yeah.
I love it. That's super cool. Just it's just people with good hearts coming together and just spreading love and joy and just why we get to do what we do. I'm super stoked on this organization. And these I'll let you guys know I'm looking at photos of these cow elk too. And they're not small.
No.
They're pretty chunky critters, you guys. So and if you dang dude, wow. Um check out the Instagram Wyoming Disabled Hunters. They got it all on point. But it's super excited. Like I said, I'm gonna try to rush this podcast out. Just hopefully more people can get applications in as they can. You guys, it's pretty late in the application season. You guys only have about 2 weeks, so I'm thinking if they want to get all their Wyoming, their license and the extra season license, they're gonna have to overnight their mail. I'm pretty sure in order to get it back and forth into you in time.
Yeah, overnight might be a little might be a little overzealous or whatever, but yeah, you're probably gonna have to expedite it somehow, yeah.
Expedited. That's the word I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Overnight. And like, yeah, if you want to, get it done real quick. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you guys check it out, Wyoming Disabled Hunters. Bryce, thank you for coming on. At the end of every podcast, though, I do this all and I give glory to God because He gave me the opportunity to thrive and to find the outdoors and to live life and stuff like that. So I just lift up a small prayer at the end of my podcast. If you guys have ears to hear and eyes to see, even if you don't have those, if you just bow your heads real quick, I'd let it just lift up a real quick prayer. Father God, thank you so much for the opportunity we're able to get Bryce and Wyoming Disabled Hunters here on the podcast, Lord. I pray that those who have got their applications in and those who are going to get them in, Lord, will see the fruits of their labor, Lord God, and that they'd be able to go out on a hunt here with these guys. And I just thank you for what they're doing, how they're doing it, God, and they're just the people they're blessing and bringing smiles to, Lord, as you call us here on earth to just show your love and spread your love, Lord. I just thank you for the opportunity to have them on the podcast. And I pray that the season's very successful and they go 100%, Lord. So I'm gonna say all this in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Cool, buddy. Appreciate you coming on and everybody get those applications in. Time's coming up.
Definitely. Thank you.